Howdy folks, and welcome to another Taste of Gameplay video, this time for the American Tier 4 Tech Tree aircraft carrier, the USS Langley. As always, these videos are designed to give you a sample of the gameplay of the ship, not to be an exhaustive analysis. I recommend the Wargaming Wiki or other content creators. So, once again, Tier 4 aircraft carriers. Hope I can make this video interesting for 14 minutes. These airplanes look really cool. That's the first thing you notice. This yellow and blue. It reminds me of, if anyone played Axis and Allies when they were a kid, that star inside the blue circle for the Americans. Not sure, I'm sure a military or history buff can tell me where that logo comes from. But yeah, Tier 4 aircraft carriers can be fun to play. It's kind of a meditative experience. You are attacking a lot of bots, right? So they just go in straight lines, which makes hitting with things like HE rockets super easy. HE rockets, for those who don't know, have usually a much longer lead time than the AP rockets. They take a long time to come out after you click the button. Why am I using the rockets pretty much exclusively here at the beginning? Well, it's because the planes fire a lot of rockets and each has a separate chance to start a fire, and I was thinking that fires would be a huge part of the damage I would do. As compared to playing aircraft carriers at higher tiers, at this level, really, I feel like it turns in just a race to do maximum DPM. I've discussed before in other videos, but spotting is not nearly as important at this tier because most ships are spotted most of the time anyway. And the team that wins is the one that can just wear down all the opposing bots and players as quickly as possible. And so that's what I'm trying to do. Start as many fires as I can, do as much damage as I can. My favorite Tier 4 aircraft carrier is the Rhine. You can go watch that video for more about that one, and it has AP rockets and bombs. The Langley uses HE rockets and bombs. They actually wound up being more effective than I thought they would be. I was a little worried they just weren't going to do enough damage. They weren't going to penetrate some of these battleships, but they did all right. I'm even going to get some citadels later on a cruiser. The fires wound up being not as helpful as I thought. I'm going to end up with, I think, 10 fires, but only for 16k damage. I guess it's partially because bots always instantly put out fires. If you're playing in a real game against players, it becomes an interesting challenge to set fires in such a way that you overwhelm their DCP. So you set a fire, hope they DCP it, and then come back to the same target for another fire, because you want those perma fires. They do so much damage. But at this level, I guess it just winds up being about doing the maximum DPM. The Langley is not a terrible aircraft carrier. It's fine. The HE bombs are interesting. They do 7,200 damage a piece, and they have a 48% base fire chance, which is pretty good. So you can start a lot of fires with them. And of course, because bots are predictable, you can start a fire, they'll immediately put it out, then come back to the same target, start a new fire. Positioning is an interesting thing at this level. I guess at every level, but particularly at Tier 4, you definitely need to be close enough to the battle that it doesn't take forever to fly your planes back and forth. I definitely see a mistake that very beginner aircraft carrier players make is they're afraid of the battle and they go all the way to A1 or J10 and they just park there, but that massively reduces your effectiveness, especially in terms of DPM, because of course the planes have to fly all the way back and forth. Knowing that I would need some things to talk about during this video, I did a little research just into the Langley. I was just curious because I know it's basically the first aircraft carrier that America built. Anyway, it was an interesting story. It was converted from a coal tender ship, a Navy coal tender, but still not really a military ship. It's a pretty ungainly looking thing. And in World of Warships, one way that comes across is it has just really, really bad armor. It's the same with the Tier 6 one that comes next, the Ranger, USS Ranger. They just have just really bad armor. And you might say, well, don't all aircraft carriers have bad armor? But actually, that's not really true. Like the German aircraft carriers are pretty heavily armored, but these US ones, at least these early ones, are not. But in a game like this, it's okay as long as you avoid players, because bots hardly ever shoot at you. they tend to prefer targets that are close, and so if you just aren't the closest target, and then even when they do shoot at you, like at some point I will get an enemy bot in my face, but he's just gonna miss every single time. They're just so bad. So yeah, it winds up being just who can get the most damage into the damage sponges. And for the Langley, it does an okay job. I think the Rhine is better, but I'm gonna end up with, I think, like 70k damage and something like 4 kills, so, you know, pretty good game. Definitely going to help my team out. You'll notice basically all the bots are dead. One destroyer from each team is dead, which is interesting. Not quite sure what happened there, but this game still very much hangs in the balance. But I'm going to wear down this Kaiser with the help of this Myogi. We're going to take him out. He doesn't DCP this fire, and I didn't really grasp why. During the game, it didn't seem like he should be in a position to not have his DCP, but he didn't use it. Oh, he uses it now, or maybe the fire ran out? I'm not sure. I couldn't tell quite what happened there. Being able to aim well enough to actually hit individual sections of the ship and start fires in places that you want them is important, especially at this level. I guess it's important at every level, but I should mention the Langley, in addition to being really poorly armored, is also incredibly slow. I think it has a top speed of something like 16 knots. It's just really, really slow. So you definitely want to hide it somewhere. You'll notice I'm behind an island, not a very big island, but I'm also keeping an eye on the minimap just to make sure nobody gets too close to me. I said earlier that eventually a bot would end up in my face, but that seems to be false. I must be misremembering from a different game, or maybe that happens later in the game. But yeah, we've ground down this Kaiser. He's just pushing and pushing and pushing. It's probably not the choice I would make. I think I would not push. The only thing that can really hurt you at Tier 4, it hurt the planes, I mean, ironically, is other aircraft carriers. They often have fighters, and they often have much better AA than just about any other ship at this tier. So is the Langley a good aircraft carrier? Well, it's not bad. I don't think it's as good as the Rhine, just in terms of effectiveness, but, you know, if you want to play it like for historical reasons, it's certainly fine. Basically all the tier 4 aircraft carriers, with the exception of I think the Russian one is not very good. But all the other ones are basically fine. They're essentially similar. And I do think these planes look pretty awesome. That yellow and blue color scheme is pretty cool. No idea if that's historically accurate, but it looks really good. Whatever a Gulf Hawk is. Generally speaking, I try not to straight up attack the enemy aircraft carrier. I mean, in general, in every aircraft carrier game, but especially at these tiers, because like I said, they're one of the only ships that actually can shoot down your planes, so why risk it? But this Hosho is just making himself a really tempting target. Even still, it's probably a mistake. I should be looking at that dirt ski, because I think that's a player. Yeah, that's a player. Of course, I have help from the St. Louis, but I think I am going to switch to the dirt ski. Yeah. Now, why I chose these rocket planes, I'm not sure. I mean, of course, it's a common problem that aircraft carriers don't have good weapons. Something weird happens here, by the way. I get this weird bug. You'll see it happen where I launch on top of the dirt ski, but look at what happens to my planes. They go way out there. I don't know what happened right there. That clearly was a bug, or at least like a server desync or something. Yeah, that did not look right at all. Don't think I've ever seen that before. I've been playing long enough to remember a time when there was a bug in replays where you would see the reticle in the wrong place. It didn't happen in game, but in the replay it would look like the player was just aiming really badly. I believe it was always aiming too high in the visuals. Anyway, I don't use replays to film these. I actually just film the game as I'm playing it. So that's not an issue. That's also why I don't get the bug with the scores being flipped between the teams. I'm not really quite sure what I'm thinking here. This is not a great strategy. There's no way. You only drop 2 of these HE bombs. There's no way I'm going to hit that dirt ski. But I should have just spun around in circles until he ran out of time. This game still very much hangs in the balance. I mean, you can pretty much ignore that bot battleship, so it's kind of my one St. Louis cruiser friend here and me against the Hosho and this Dirtski. But I could see that going either way. We really need to take care of the Dirtski. I'm less worried about the Hosho, but I really want to get rid of this Dirtski. The Dirtski's a pretty good destroyer. Look how low health he is. I think I'm just going to flat out miss him too. I'm going to basically do a pretty bumbling job here of failing. It's really, really hard to hit destroyers with these rockets, and he knows how to drift. Fortunately, though, I've got him spotted. Kind of, I guess, a counter to what I said earlier about spotting not being really important. Generally, I stand by that statement at Tier 4, but of course in specific situations against real human players, spotting still is extremely handy. That guy actually was making an effort not to be spotted, and if I hadn't been there with my planes, he might have been able to pull it off. And now it's just a matter of wearing down this bot and taking out the Hosho. I would never do this against players, by the way, sailing this close. And it's still risky. I mean, that battleship, the Niaz... Oh my gosh, how do I say that? Anyway, that battleship, if that was a player, he absolutely would destroy me. And even as a bot, he could get lucky. But he won't. I think at some point I'm going to have the bright idea to switch to the secondaries. I can't remember if that was this game. Look, he's just firing blindly at 4 kilometers. I don't know what happened to the St. Louis. I guess he made a wrong turn at Albuquerque. Nope, no, there he is. Yeah, between the two of us, we'll definitely take this guy out. I think I'm going to end up lighting 2 or 3 concurrent fires on him. I'm trying to get a 3rd fire on the bow, but I don't get it. Is this where I decide I'm going to... Oh, I remember now. I'm going to sail so close to the Hosho that I'm going to try to use my secondaries to kill the Hosho. And that's going to be a comedy of errors. You'll see that in a second. It's really hilarious how bad secondaries are. That's why manual secondaries aren't as cool as they sound. I mean, they're definitely cool, but the dispersion is so incredibly awful. It reminds me of playing the Mikasa. Oh, the St. Louis rammed that battleship. That's right. Okay, so it literally is just me and him. And then watch. So I've got him down to 1,179 hit points, so I have the bright idea, well, I'll just use the secondaries. Oh, look, I got a hit. That's promising. I think I even started a fire. And now I need 288 damage on this Hosho, and I cannot get it. I am just completely missing. I imagine guys standing up on the deck with, like, long-barreled rifles trying to shoot 5 kilometers. It's going to get to the point where I'm going to realize at some point that I'm just not going to hit this guy with these secondaries, and I think I actually launched the planes again. This is just hilarious. I mean, literally any shell that hits this guy would win the game for me. And I can't hit him. I just can't hit him. Oh well, lesson learned. I mean, this ends up being close. You know, I'm at 18K and I'm flooding. I mean, I could easily have screwed this up, but luckily for me, I only need 1 rocket to hit. 1 rocket, and there we go. Victory is mine with the USS Langley. Victorious. Could not be victorious in real life, but victorious here in World of Warships. So yeah, 71K damage, 3 kills. Top of table, I'm sure. I don't know how much XP did I get here. Oh no, not top of table. Yeah. I guess that makes sense. I mean, I did a lot of damage, but it was mostly to battleships. Not really terribly useful. But anyway, that's the USS Langley. Good tier 4 aircraft carrier if you're interested in that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.